Day morning presentation, and maybe today's the day you're going to get your question answered. I hope so. I'll tell you how to submit a question for future consideration coming up here in just a moment as well. But first, would you please help me welcome Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. Good morning, Bruce.
Hey, good morning, Todd. How you doing this morning?
Fantastic. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How could you do it otherwise? Look at outside in Southwest Florida. It's beautiful, sunshine. Couldn't ask for anything more.
I expected a positive comment from you. And, it kind of reminds me of something. I saw your TV commercial way earlier this morning, and it was the one where you are working out. And I thought to myself at that point, man, he does that like every single day, don't you? You work out fairly frequently.
Yeah, we were at the gym at 7 o'clock this morning.
See?
DJ and I work out together every day.
And I thought to myself, why can't I do that? And then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm lazy. That's why. You, however, are just absolutely amazing with all of your energy after, 51 years in the law practice now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's why we turn to you when it comes time for some legal knowledge. And we've got a very intriguing question to ask today that came via email. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, here's what it says. My daughter was a passenger with a college friend who ran a stop sign and caused a terrible accident. My daughter was taken to the hospital with multiple broken bones, a concussion, and a severe neck injury. The driver was ticketed and only had minimum insurance. We have always maintained full insurance coverage, including uninsured motorist coverage. Will that protect my daughter, even though she wasn't driving? Does the fact that the person she was riding with was at fault for the accident eliminate any claim? Please ask the lawyer if he can help. So a bunch of questions all rolled into one here, but I bet this is a situation you've dealt with many times.
I have dealt with many times, and, it's a great question because it all revolves around our friend uninsured motorist or underinsured motorist.
Right.
Coverage.
Which gratefully they say here they've always carried. That's good. That's a good start.
That's a great start. So the first thing I would say to all our listeners is that because it's the beginning of the year, everybody should check their insurance coverage and make sure that they have stacking uninsured motorist coverage to the highest limits they could afford.
Okay.
And as an example, I was just dealing with a client yesterday, severely injured. They had great coverage. They had $250,000 of uninsured motorist coverage, but they had 3 cars, and they chose non-stacking uninsured motorist coverage.
Uh-oh.
If they would have had stacking uninsured motorist coverage, they would have had $750,000 of coverage.
Right. So they were better off than they would be without it, but not as good as they could have been.
Right. And it's important to realize every time you think about car insurance is if you look outside at the highway, 1 out of every 4 cars that you see don't have any insurance.
And usually it's that one car that's driving like an idiot, too, I want you to know.
You're right. Excuse me, but that's
right. That's okay.
How important it is to have uninsured motorist coverage.
Yeah.
So to answer the question more specifically, is this young lady's a passenger in someone else's car who's at fault. That fault driver doesn't have enough coverage in order to satisfy her damages. So she turns to her own family's uninsured motorist coverage. And if the family has stacking uninsured motorist coverage, they could add up the coverage on each vehicle in their home, and that's what she's entitled to claim against.
And that's a pretty complicated situation. I really think rather than dive into this yourself, you should have a professional look into it.
Absolutely. And I've offered this to you many times. Anybody who has a question regarding their insurance coverage, all they have to do is call my office, and I'm happy to review it with them and provide my suggestions.
And I'll give that phone number out in just a second in case anybody wants to take advantage. But that's a very valuable service because I think we all know how complicated insurance policies can be. And if you just take a look at it and start reading yourself, your eyes are going to glaze over pretty quickly. So why not run it past a professional and get some advice as to maybe where you could be a little better protected?
That's a great idea. It's so important.
Okay. And it's a great service. We appreciate that from you, Bruce, as always. And we appreciate your feedback on this week's question. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and looking forward to another challenging question next Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sure we will have one for you. In the meantime, have a great week. Say hi to the whole family, please.
Thank you. Take care, Todd.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. Now, if you have a question that you'd like to submit for future consideration, simply go to our website and type Bruce in the keyword search box. It'll take you to the right place to submit that question. If you have a question that's more immediate or emergent, or you'd like to take advantage of what Bruce said and have somebody listen to what your insurance policy says and maybe offer some advice about better protection, call this number. Call the Port Charlotte office, I should say, of Associates and Bruce L. Scheiner. Call the Port Charlotte office at 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. And tell them that Todd sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.